Welcome to the Explainer. So, you're thinking about applying for a US visa. Ever wonder what the government is really looking for when they go through your application? Today, we're going to crack the code on a huge piece of the puzzle, and it's something that goes way beyond just filling out forms. We're talking about your financial readiness.
All right, let's get right into it. When you're going through that whole US visa process, what do you think they're actually testing? Yeah, sure, it's about who you are and why you want to come. But believe me, there's a whole other layer to this, a much deeper evaluation going on behind the scenes.
Because underneath all that paperwork, there's this silent stress test happening. And a huge part of whether you pass or fail, well, it often comes down to your bank account. It's all about proving your financial stability. Can you not only survive here, but can you actually plug into the US financial system and stand on your own 2 feet? Okay, so while the focus on your wallet, what's the big deal? It's not just about showing you've got cash. It goes much deeper to a core principle that's basically the foundation of the whole US immigration system. And this quote from Remitly, it absolutely nails it. At the end of the day, government officials want proof you can support yourself without leaning on the system. They're trying to avoid what they call a public charge, basically someone who might need government help. And this isn't some new rule. It's been around forever to protect public resources. So really, your bank statements, they're your way of telling them, hey, don't worry about me. I've got this handled. But here's where it gets interesting and a little tricky. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. The financial test you have to pass, it actually changes depending on which visa you're applying for. It's like a different financial gauntlet for each one. Let's break that down. Okay, look at this table. It lays it out perfectly. If you're coming as a tourist, they're looking for strong ties back home, a job, property, stuff that proves you're going to go back. But for a work visa like an H-1B, the spotlight's on your employer. They have to show they're paying the prevailing wage, which just means the standard rate for that job in that area. It proves the job is real and isn't lowballing local workers. Then you've got family-based visas, where your sponsor has to meet income requirements. And for an investor, well, that's a whole different level. You have to show you're bringing in a huge chunk of cash, like over $800,000, to create jobs. See, every visa has its own specific financial test. And it's not just about proving you have money, you're gonna have to spend some too. Let's talk about the fees, which, by the way, are non-refundable. You've got your basic application fee, somewhere between $185 and $265. That just covers the processing and your interview. It's kind of like the cover charge just to get in the door, and you don't get it back no matter what happens. Then there are things like this. For some work visas, you can shell out an extra $2,805 for what's called premium processing. It's a lot of money for sure, but it can literally cut months of waiting down to just a couple of weeks. It's a perfect example of how in this process, time really is money. And then you get to the big leagues. For an investor petition, the initial filing fee alone is a staggering $1,160. Just think about that. That's before you've even invested a single dollar. It just goes to show you the kind of high-stakes game we're talking about at the top end of the visa system. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. We're going to talk about a huge challenge, one that a lot of newcomers just don't see coming. You can have all the money you need, but you might be missing something absolutely critical, a US financial identity. It's a total catch-22, right? You've got money in the bank, but when you try to do something simple like rent an apartment or even get a new phone plan, you hit a brick wall. Why? Because you have zero US credit history. You're basically a financial ghost. So what do? How do you solve this? You've got to build that financial footprint from scratch, step by step. First, you get your official tax ID. That's an SSN or an ITIN. Next, you open a US bank account to get a relationship going. Then, you can use clever tools like a credit builder loan, which is designed for this exact purpose, to create a positive payment history. And maybe most importantly, you have to become a student of the US financial system, learn how it all works. And let's talk about that ITN for a second.
That stands for Individual Taxpayer Identification Number. If you can't get a Social Security number, this thing is your golden ticket. It's issued by the IRS, and it's not just for filing taxes. It's the key that unlocks the door to opening bank accounts, which then lets you start building that credit history you so desperately need. It's really the first step to becoming real in the financial system. All right, so now that you're starting to build your financial ID, let's get tactical. What are the things you should be doing to help your case, and what are the mistakes that could totally sink your application?
First, the to-do list. The big one here is consistency. Consular officers love to see a steady, predictable pattern. That means a stable, documented income, a solid emergency fund, think 3 to 6 months of living expenses, and keeping your debt low. It all paints this picture of a responsible person who's not a risk. And please, document everything. Keep your bank statements, pay stubs, all of it, organized and ready to go.
Now for the flip side, the don't do list. These are the red flags that make officials nervous. A big one is a sudden large deposit in your account with no explanation. That just looks sketchy. Or taking on a bunch of new debt right before you apply? Bad signal. And seriously, don't submit sloppy, disorganized paperwork. You're just making it harder for them to approve you. Avoiding these things is just as important as doing the right things.
Okay, last thing, and this is a big one. Let's look past the application for a second and talk about the long game, the financial reality of actually becoming a permanent resident. This is where things get really serious. Here it is, the key point. Once you get that green card, you have to pay U.S. taxes on your worldwide income. Let me say that again, your worldwide income. It doesn't matter where you're living or where the money comes from. That rental property back home, taxable. Those investments in another country, taxable. It is a massive, often shocking financial obligation that catches so many people by surprise. And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? You've proven you're financially ready to get here, but are you truly prepared for the financial reality of staying here? You see, getting the visa, that's a huge win, but it's just the first step. The real challenge, the long journey, is navigating the incredibly complex U.S. financial world you fought so hard to join.